What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we are going to get into some college football. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope your Black Friday went well. I hope you got what you wanted to get. We are going to go ahead and look at, that's right, rivalry week this week. If it's your first time here, hey, I'm glad to have you. I'm glad that you're here watching the video. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. All right, let's get into rivalry week. It is the last week of the college football season, and we are rearing up for a pretty good slate of games because really this week, anything can happen. Most weeks in college football, you have a lot of crazy stuff, but in rivalry week, throw all records out the door, throw one team's better than another, you throw all of those logical things out the door because this is the crazy week. All right, let's start things off. We're going to start with a 3:30 game and then come right back around to the game at noon. So let's start off with a 3:30 game, Wisconsin at Minnesota. Now, normally this isn't a rivalry game. This isn't a big game, but when you got number 12 Wisconsin coming in to Minnesota and playing the number 8 Gophers, you got a big game on your hands. And so right now we've got Minnesota, who's really just coming off of a disappointing loss here. You know, they've been playing pretty well, but a couple weeks ago they had their first loss of the season handed to them by Iowa. And it was kind of a shame to see because you wanted to kind of see the Cinderella keep things going and doing that, but you know, you'll have that. And then you've got kind of a Wisconsin team that is kind of been Wisconsin, and who got kind of railed by the Buckeyes a few weeks ago and has kind of now built up some steam and kind of rerighted the ship. They've got 2 losses on the season and looking at really to win this game. And the fact of the matter is everything's on the line for both teams today because the Big Ten West is up for grabs today. If Minnesota wins, they win it outright. If Wisconsin wins, they tie with Minnesota, but because they beat Minnesota today, they would go ahead and get the tiebreaker. So this game is to play the Buckeyes for the Big Ten championship. And as I look at this game, Minnesota is the home team, and they are getting 3 points in this game. And I don't know. Minnesota's been playing really well all year. I think they've got a really decent passing attack. They've got some wide receivers out there on the sides that I think that if they can get loose and they can get the ball to them, I think they can create some havoc for this Wisconsin team. This Wisconsin team, it's Wisconsin. We know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball. They're going to pass when they need to, and they're just going to try to run the ball down your throat. So looking at this game, these teams are actually pretty evenly matched when it comes to looking at everything across the stat line, and that if I had to lean one way or the other, I think I'm going to go the Wisconsin route with it. I think just because Wisconsin's tested, tried and true, and Wisconsin really is like Iowa, and Iowa's the one team that has beat Minnesota, and so I think that Wisconsin plays a better version of Iowa than Iowa does. And so I think that they're going to really give Minnesota kind of havoc, and especially with it being a cold day and that sometimes it's harder to throw the ball in. And so I think that that's going to be a hard thing for them to do today. And I think that Wisconsin's going to pound the rock and wear Minnesota out to where in the fourth quarter, I think they're going to pull away. They're going to win by somewhere around 7 to 10 points. So I definitely am going to go with Wisconsin, and we're going to have a Wisconsin-Ohio State game in the Big Ten championship. That's who I'm going to go with. Let's go ahead with another 3:30 game. And we've got the Iron Bowl. We've got Alabama, number 5 Alabama. They are heading into Auburn. They're playing the number 15 Auburn Tigers. Now, Auburn's got 3 losses on the season here, and they are a 3-point underdog to Alabama. I think right now, Alabama is getting about the credit that's due them. what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times I feel like the Alabama is just overhyped for where they are, and especially their schedule. The fact of the matter is they've only beat one currently ranked team right now. I think that they're definitely a really good team, but as much clout as they get, I don't think normally they deserve that. Now, however, I feel like that they're putting way too much on them losing Tua. I think that right now, Jones coming in and playing for them, I think is just fine. I think that he's going to do just fine, and I don't think that it's going to hurt Alabama one bit. So when they're, I think they're giving Tua way too much credit for what he does, and I think that that Alabama normally gets more credit than what they deserve. So when you take the two things and you put them together, I think that that's about right where they're calling Alabama right now. But I just don't think that Auburn's as good as what they're saying they are. I think that they've got a really good defense, but I think that their offense is just terrible. And I think that Alabama's going to have a field day with them, and I don't think that this game's going to be close at all. I think it's going to be over by half. And so I'll definitely give up the points all day on this one. Take Alabama. Alabama's going to roll, but I got a feeling that Alabama is going to be left out of the college football playoff because of the whole Tua thing. Just because they don't believe in the other quarterback, and they're not going to have another game to go ahead and really give the committee something to look at, because I think LSU's gonna run with it. I think that they're gonna win the SEC outright, and I think that that's gonna close the door on Alabama this year, and I think they're going to finish with one loss as a really good team, go to a really nice bowl, and I think that that's what's going to end up with Alabama this year. Now, let's go ahead and let's go back to the noon slate, and let's look at the game. We've got the number one, the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're heading into the Big House today. They're playing number 13 Michigan, and that line right now is 9.5 points. The over-under on that one's 51.5, and I'm not touching that 51.5. So let's look at this 9.5. So the 9.5 actually started out at 8 points. So Michigan was given 8 points, and now it's kind of grown its way all the way up to 9.5 points. And as I'm looking at this with it, being a Buckeye fan, I'm always nervous about this game. If you're with me, other Buckeye fans out there, you've lived through the Cooper years, you've gone in with much better team and come out on the losing side of things. However, I just think that today's going to be different. I think that I think you've got Chase Young, who has kind of determined that he is going to be a man on a mission, and I think that he's going to definitely be that again today. I think he's going to have the rest of the guys all fired up, and I think they're going to be fired up to play in the Big House. I think that Ohio State's offense is going to kind of get things back rolling again, and I think that kind of the not really scoring last week with Penn State, I think it's going to put a fire under them, and I think that they're going to put up points in bunches this week. And I look for them winning by probably somewhere around 17 to 20 points in this game. I think that Shea Patterson and Michigan's I think they're going to score some, but I think really, by halftime, the Buckeyes are going to be up probably somewhere around 35 to 7, 35 to 10, something like that at halftime. And I think that they're going to cruise to where they'll probably win somewhere around, I don't know, say the 45 mark, 49 mark, 49 to 20 is I think that what the score is probably going to be. Maybe 24, somewhere around in there, to where I think the Buckeyes are going to have another big win and go on to win the Big Ten championship and end up in the college football playoff. But that's where I kind of come out on the side with everything. So the question is what do you think? When it comes down to it all, what do you think about these 3 games or any other games that you might have? I'd love to hear down in the comment section what your thoughts are. I don't know. Leave me some comments with what games you're picking and who you have for those games. All right. Well, I know that you're busy and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good day. Bye.